This episode is proudly supported by Pepe Sayer Australian Cultured Butter, batch churned from single origin cream.
Like any good product, you have to start off with an amazing cream. Like for us, it's the raw material that matters. So where we get our cream from matters a lot. So we can't just buy your average supermarket grade cream. So you need real cream. You need basically the stuff they skim off the top of milk at a farm. And to get that product, we have to go to the farmers direct. So for us, we have to source our cream very carefully. We travel a lot to different farms to make sure that the cream we're getting is the real deal from different areas of Australia.
For more information, go to pepesayer.com.au.
So this place is giving me something really special, and it's important that I focus on giving everyone a really exceptional experience, but more importantly, a homely experience, and more importantly, the team that we build, the family we build, an amazing experience for them.
Today on Dirty Linen, we are chatting to George Calombaris, the one, the only. George has recently opened a new restaurant in Melbourne in Highett, Bayside suburb. Not far from me, though I haven't been yet. I'm looking forward to checking out Hellenic House Project. George, welcome to Dirty Linen.
Thanks, Dani. It's finally nice to be on. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it has been. And I mean, it's been a while since you've opened a restaurant as well. Tell us about the new place.
Yeah, look, I first up, I reckon I don't sort of consider this a restaurant nor an eatery or a cafe. I don't really have a sort of, all I do know is it's a house. And that was, I think, in essence, the true sort of feeling about it when I walked in is that I went, wow, I feel like I've done a bit of a 360. All the feelings I'm having, and even this morning as I woke up to come in, are the same feelings I had when I first opened the press club. All of that muscle memories coming back, just a little slower. But the place is, I called it the Hellenic House because it's truly that. It's got a front yard, a backyard. It's got a kitchen, and it's got a good room upstairs. And, it embraces all of, I guess, my personal journey of the last sort of 20-odd years. But more importantly, it brings together a community of like-mindedness. And, obviously you don't have to be of Greek background to be part of the Hellenic House Project. But you've got to have some sort of undeniable, love for the culture, especially the Greek Australian culture, which I hold very close to my heart. So, it's got so many values that I was very, very strict about that it needed to have, like any great house.
So what are some of those values?
Oh, look, first up, you generally go to a big marketing agency like I've done in the past, to get your big logo done, to get all this stuff done. My daughter did the logo. Michaela's 10. I asked her to do the logo. Gave it to a couple of mates of mine, the good ones who are young, sort of entrepreneurial creatives, and they helped bring it to life. The plates for the good room, every single one of them, Sam and I threw on the wheel, and it was funny because when I went out to see Sam Gordon, who I believe is one of the best potters in the world, he said to me, and it really sort of brought a little tear to my eye because he's gone, I've been dying for this moment. I go, what do you mean? He goes, like, for you to come and spend time with me here, because in the past we'd never see you because you were I never had time for this stuff. So, the pottery, I've got young Nico. He's an Aussie Greek boy who's passionate about Greek herbs, spices and vegetables, and he inherited all of these seedlings from his great-granddad when he came out to Australia in the 50s, and he's growing, an incredible, amount of produce for us for here, that, not even I had seen before. So he's actually out in the backyard as we speak, planting a bucket load of stuff. Anthony, our head chef, he's 32. He's sort of, I'm asking everyone to keep their eye on him because I've got a really good feeling about this young chef. He's ambitious, he's driven, and he's a way better version of George Calombaris, if I can talk in the third, as wanker as that sounds, talking in the third person. So I think there's just so many people involved, and I could go on and on and on, that make this a really special home. My niece was here last night working downstairs, and I turned around and went to her, Anthea, I go, how's uni today? And she looked at me and she went, Uncle, I finished uni 2 years ago. I work now. And I just went, oh my God, where have I been? So this place is really giving me something really special, and it's important that I focus on giving everyone a really exceptional experience, but more importantly, a homely experience, and more importantly, the team that we build, the family we build, an amazing experience for them.
Wow, George. I mean, it's really is amazing hearing you speak like that. And I guess the feeling I'm getting from you is this feeling of being anchored, like really putting a lot of value on, building something really solid and caring around you. I mean, you've had an amazing career, but you've had a particularly tumultuous journey over the past, 5 or 6 years. How do you reflect on that, and has that been a real driver for building a values-based business?
Yeah, I think there's no question about it. We tried to do it in a mass organisation. 550 staff had it back in the day, 20 odd venues. But you know what? You've got to accept sometimes in life you're not good at something, and I've accepted the fact that I think I'm okay at doing it when it's like this, and I wouldn't change anything of the past. I've learnt so much. I've met some most incredible people. I've got the most incredible network of beautiful family and friends, and even today, I'm pulling on old team members from back at Maid to come and just help out and support and be around, and and that's what's lovely about that family back then. But this for me is, in a way, it's a bit of a dream actually, and there's those of you that did go to the Press Club or Ghazi or Hellenics, you'll see a couple of pieces of things all dotted around the place that will remind you of those, because I don't want to forget that. It's not it's not book shut, it's chapter closed, move on, we're moving on to the next. And yeah, you're right, Dani, I'm 44, I'm a lot more wiser, but one thing that I've realised is that there's one thing no one can ever take away from me, and I'm a cook and a chef at heart, and I absolutely love it, and I love people, and I love creating teams, and I love our guests. I find that a real buzz, and I'm in a really beautiful space at the minute, and I just feel sometimes things are meant to be, and this opportunity came to me, and I don't get me wrong, you're nervous. Like, I was nervous 2 weeks ago opening the doors to downstairs. What are people going to think? What are people going to say? Will they come? And all those feelings, I guess, I had when I opened Press Club, that long ago. But this time a little bit more because of, I guess, of all the tough times that I had and my family had, because they were part of it as well. So yeah, to be here right now, we the website crashed yesterday at 10 a.m. It was over 15,000 people click on it. We're fully booked in the good room for the next 5 months. It's bloody, and look, it's only 48 seats, but it's just nice. And I don't, you know, my team is small. I can touch and feel them every day. I can talk to them closely every day. There was a point it made, I actually had no idea names of people. And that actually got to me at a point where I don't want to struggle with that again. I have no ambition in, you know, someone said to me yesterday, when are you going to open the next one? It's like, no, I'm not going to be dictated and driven by what other people feel and want. I'm going to be dictated and driven by just making sure we can look after what's in front of us, and that's the Hellenic House Project.
What helps you find your centre through all this? Like, how do you know that?
Constantly knowing that the only thing I can do is dictate what's in front of me, learn from obviously my past, and be authentic. Knowing your heart of hearts, it's authentic. It feels right. You know, I could have gone and opened in, you know, a premier spot in the CBD, or there was an incredible amount of opportunity thrown at me, but I chose to come to Highett. And people go, why Highett? And I sort of go, well, why East Brunswick, Lygon Street, East Brunswick for Hellenic Republic? And that's what I got asked when we did that, I don't know, 12 years ago. They go, you're mad. It's a wasteland for food out there. You're crazy. And I feel like there's something authentic and real being on this little strip here, and the community and the people. And if we can win over the community, the rest will follow. So, you know, that for me is a really exciting proposition. I just feel like, you know, this feels right to me. It feels authentic. It feels like I belong here. And that's something that you've got to feel within yourself. And I remember there was days we were opening Jimmy Grant stores left, right and centre, you know, and I never forget, we opened up, I think it was a Bondi store, and I went to it and I'm like, what is this? This is just not... And obviously I put a smile on my face because suddenly we've got investors and there's all this going on. So you've got to pretend. I'm not going to pretend anymore. I don't need to. I can just be honest and real about the fact that, you know, this is my little home, and I can touch every corner of it every day. You know, I can shut Sunday, Mondays to give myself a day off, to give the team a day off. You know, I can really control the narrative and be authentic to me. I know I'm not going to get it right. I'm you know, as we keep saying, you never stop learning, but I just feel there's been a lot of lessons. So I'm using definitely all of my lessons of the past, good, bad and ugly, to produce something that is gonna make my soul feel good first, my family, my wife, my kids, make them feel really good, and then, you know, the rest should take care of itself.
Yeah. I remember sitting with you in Press Club, like not long after you'd opened. I think you'd had a trip to Greece and you'd had some experience eating on the beach. You had your toes in the sand and you were just talking about trying to replicate that experience somehow in Melbourne. And I was really taken with the enthusiasm that you had for Greek culture, or for translating Greece into an Australian setting. Can you talk about that creative process and how it's found a place in the new project?
Yeah, look, you know, I was fortunate enough to do December, January in Greece this year, which is, I've never done a Christmas, and I avoid the cliche places, the Santorinis, the Mykonoses. I actually like to go into the inland, and, you know, went up to this incredible monastery where we, you know, I spent a couple of days up there looking at these incredible monasteries where run by nuns, and just looking at what they eat, how they eat, you know, why the culture lives for so long, and just really, you know, and, you know, in a way, you know, there's something special about being an Aussie boy, because we're taught to be open-minded, you know, because we're so multicultural here, and, you know, I know it's a bit of easy word to throw around, multiculturalism here, but we truly are. I mean, I've always said it, outside of Vietnam, where do you get the best Vietnamese? It's Melbourne. Outside of Italy, where do you get the best Italian? It's Melbourne. Outside of India, where do you get the best Indian? It's Melbourne. We're you know, it's an incredible place when you think about all these cultures. So for me, it was coming back and looking at how I could translate what I call spitiko cuisine, which is, you know, is sort of home cooking, but at a real sort of at a polished level. So, you know, I never made, for example, I never made dolmades in any of our venues back in the day for press club, none of that. So I actually spent some time and went and learned how to make them properly, because I sort of would look at them and like, oh my God, it's grandmother food. They're cooking they taste good. I like eating them, but I don't really want to know how to make that. But I actually went and spent time to learn how to make them properly. And, you know, so we make the dolmades, and then we marinate the dolmades, because what I worked out is inside the properties of a vine leaf exist in the same properties of a shisho leaf. So when you marinate the actual dolmades in shisho, you get this insanely amazing flavour. And then I just literally put a little slice of kingfish over the top of it, so it looks like nigiri. But and then when you eat it, it's sort of like this sort of, I don't know, it's just delicious. But again, taking this homely recipe of making dolmades, but just giving them that little edge. So for me, that's been the process. I've been looking at a lot of, you know, old ancient Byzantine recipes, you know, just stuff that isn't, you know, I really tried hard downstairs in the kitchen for the souvlaki bar not to put the grain salad on. But I was reminded very quickly by my family that, I know you love, you always talk about, you know, I cook food that I want to eat, but hey mate, we all want to eat it. So my family spoke and I listened. So the grain salad's on down there, but, you know, upstairs in the good room, we're really trying to just do, you know, really homely, delicious, yummy spitiko cuisine, homely cuisine, that people can just go, yeah, yum, that's delicious.
Yeah, I guess it's like Sting has to sing Roxanne at every show or whatever, and it's like you got to do that with grace, right? Like let the people get what they want. Yeah, what do the nuns eat in the monasteries? I really need to know.
Yeah, it's really interesting, and in the same up in Aiosoros, which is where all the monks live, and it's a very specific, totally different cuisine to most of Greece. It's very Byzantine driven, so Ottoman Empire type of stuff. You know, things like, you know, like probably 80 to 90% plant. You know, lots of grains, lots of beans, lots of things braised in olive oil. You know, a dish where I was just blown away, where they juice onions whole, and then they put that in a pot with lots of olive oil, like a load of olive oil, and then just poach cod in it really gently. And it's just, and it's not served super hot. It's served sort of, I would say, you know, sort of, you know, 40 degrees, 45 degrees, and it's just insanely delicious. But I just love the way they just celebrate, you know, we're having okra tonight. And it's what it is. It's a pot of braised okra in tomatoes, and then that's the center of the table. And around that is, you know, some delicious sour yogurt, some tursi, which is a sort of a pickles, you know, some crusty, you know, bread, and that's dinner. You know, it's yum and it's wholesome, and you know, there's some sort of, they're doing something right. They're living for a long time, these peeps.
What did they think about an Aussie guy coming and like getting excited about their juiced onion?
Yeah, it's a bit weird because they're like looking at me. But we're pretty funny species, aren't we? Well, especially us Aussies, we get excited by those simple things because we think everything needs to be so complicated. I think if there's anything I've learned, and if you knew the lunatic George of the reserve days, everything was just so. I look at dishes now and I'm so embarrassed. That was just over the top and overcomplicated. But I guess that's a journey in life. You've got to go through these things, and I never forget an older chef saying to me, you'll pare back your food, and I'll be like, no way, I'll just be adding more, and I need to make sure I cook more and do more to it, because that's how I value who I am as a chef. Well, no, it's the total opposite now. It's like a bit like, Chanel sending the models out on the catwalk. They always take one piece of something off before they go out, so it's I think I take now 3 things off, and keep it as simple as possible.
I mean, it's such your journey perhaps was a little bit extreme with some of the combos at Reserve, but it was the era as well. But why is it that if so many chefs go on that journey of, from complicated to simple, like what is that?
Yeah, I don't know. I reckon now, I'm not going to lie, I think the young modern chef now are cooking really good food, probably better food than my generation were. And I can talk for myself. I'm not going to, I think there's some young chefs out there doing some insanely delicious stuff, and it's awesome. In saying that, I also say to a lot of young chefs, don't be afraid to make a mistake. Not everything. I know everyone's doing tartare at the moment. I know everyone's fermenting it at the moment. Don't be afraid to walk away from the pack and do something that potentially you might make a mistake on, because that's okay. You're allowed to, mistakes are okay. So I think there's that balance of keeping it delicious and all that stuff, but also being, Instagram's been amazing for all of us, but it's also a detriment for creativity, I believe, because everyone starts looking at the same thing. It's like, a deer in headlights. You start then doing the same thing. So I think it's really important, and I say to all young chefs that are in and around me is, think, mind in the clouds always, just keep them in the clouds, and don't be afraid to dream and to create some dishes that, you'll look back on one day and go, oh my God, what the hell was that? But that's okay, because that helps you, get to the path that you need to get to.
Yeah, well, I reckon one big difference between that, 2000, early 2000s and now is the way young chefs are talking about produce or engaging with produce. Because I don't reckon then, there was that, you wouldn't just be all gathered around, I don't know, like a beautiful tomato in the kitchen or whatever it might be, like a beautiful fish, the way that people are more likely to do now. Do you reckon that's a bit of a trajectory?
Yeah, you're bang on, Dani. I think we were probably too worried about our egos more than we were about anything else. They were, and again, I wouldn't change anything for it. I'm very grateful for the apprenticeship I had and what I learned. But you're spot on. I feel we're so much more in tune and engaged in where our food comes from. Just a little bit more. It's just more worrying about that than worrying about the egotistic nature of the kitchen, which shouldn't exist anymore. It doesn't need to exist anymore. We're all just trying to cook some nice food and learn. And that's important.
I'd love to ask you more about the Greek side of things, because I think it's, was that something that you had to come to? It feels like it's just got more and more part of your identity. Was that something, how has that sort of happened?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, look, there was a point, especially after Reserve, when that finished up, where I've gone, who am I? And I really had to look in the mirror and understand who I was as a cook, and what truly are my beliefs. And that's when sort of the penny dropped, and I went, hang on a second, I've been fortunate enough to work in some pretty amazing, French-based restaurants where I learnt the classics and all that. Well, hang on, who am I? Because I've got no a love affair for French cuisine, like where, you know, Shannon had a love affair for it, and he's done an incredible job at it. So I really had to dig deep and understand who I was, and that's where the penny sort of dropped, and I went, hang on a second, I've grown up into this culture. I've been fortunate enough to have, you know, a mum and dad, mum of Cypriot origin and dad born in Egypt to a Greek father and Italian mother. I've been open to, you know, dad speaks 5 languages, you know, the food's pretty insane at home. And, you know, I loved visiting and understanding more about the culture in Greece. So that's when the sort of penny dropped, and I went, and then I also looked and went, hang on a second, why isn't there anyone cooking some really, really delicious Greek food? You know, there was the taverns, and, you know, they were there to serve a purpose, and that's great. But I just really wanted something that we could be all proud of. First and foremost, myself and my family, be proud of this place that really respected the culture. And I've been absolutely inundated by chefs in Greece over the last week and a half, you know, just congratulating, and I can't wait. How special to know that that this little place in Highett is, you know, these guys are feeling like they've got a sense of pride in it. Like, I don't know, it's a weird feeling, but I just love it, and I love doing it here. I wouldn't be doing it anywhere else. You know, I could have run away from Melbourne. I could have run away from Victoria, you know, 3-4 years ago when life got tough, and gave up on this place that has given me so much. That was never an option. The option was to refocus, to recenter, to purge, to do all the things I had to do for me and my family, and then come back and just do something that is thoughtful and just honest, and just something that's going to make that when I walk in every day, it's going to put a big smile on my face.
I mean, that feeling when, like, the website crashed and now you booked 5 months out in the good room, I mean, what was that feeling like?
I'm not going to lie to you. In the last 10 days, Dani, I've shedded a few tears. You know, just even as I'm telling you, you know, it's been an emotional time, you know, and to be in this place right now is really special, and I don't want to forget these times, because, you know, that's life's short. So, you know, we've got to really think about when the good times come. We've got to really appreciate them. We've got to celebrate them and be grateful about them, because I probably wasn't back in the day, you know, because the world was just it was crazy for me. And I wasn't celebrating those wins. I said, on to the next, where now it's like, no, I'm just happy doing this now, and I'm gonna really enjoy this, and, you know, enjoy seeing my kids grow up, and just doing the simple things. So yeah, it's been overwhelmingly. I'm very grateful and very 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 pleased. I'm very very humbled by it all, as weird as that can sound.
Does it feel? Is it relaxing to have the restaurant booked? Is it more pressure? Do you feel, the weight of expectation?
Yeah, big time. I mean, the pressure's a privilege, and I've always said it. This type of pressure is what I was born for. I love it, you know. And as I said to Anthony yesterday, our head chef, and the guys have gone, you know, great. We had a great review yesterday on 3AW, but you know, one of them goes, Chef, why didn't you call in? I wanted you to call in. I go, because it wasn't out of disrespect to 3AW or any of them, but I go, the old George probably would have done that, but I don't. My focus is us and our what we're doing, and if we don't keep that focus and we're worrying about the noise, good, bad, or indifferent, then that means I'm not putting I'm not giving you me, and we're not giving our guests us, our family us. So yes, the pressure's on. Like, we've got 40 booked for lunch today and 50 booked for dinner, and it's game on. Everything's got to be the best of our ability, and more importantly, not just it's the entire feeling when you walk into the place. I've got to make sure that everything it smells right. Everything just has that sense of, wow, okay, it's making you feel like you've gotten into your favourite pair of Ugg boots whenever you come here, your favourite pair of jeans, not the fancy jeans that you put on once a year. It's those ones that you love putting on every day that have got a little tear in them because they make you feel good.
Awesome. I've got permission to wear my Ugg boots to your restaurant. That's very good to know.
Anytime, Dani.
I can imagine, or I think I've got a sense of the feeling that you've got knowing that, you've helped make some of the plates, like you've chosen all those little details and everybody's name that's working there. I mean, that must really... Yeah, it must be really anchoring to come back to something we talked about at the start of this conversation.
So much. It's just a wonderful feeling. It's a wonderful feeling to know I've got that. It's not about control, but it's about, like, I want to know who's, like, every time I think about the place, our values are all about what I've not created this word. The word doesn't exist, but this ideology of Greekology, I call it, and Greekology is made up of many different thoughts and feelings. Greekology is a movement, is a feeling, is a sense of coming. Every time I think about this place and think about the guest and the team member that works here, the family member that works here, I've got to think that they're at home with me. So we don't have a front desk where someone rocks into and someone's standing there with a bow tie on. It's not that type of place. You just come through the front door and you pretty much you walk straight, and you got the kitchen on the right, and there's suvas being slung out, and you'll see Alexi, who's mid 50s, straight off the boat, makes some of the best suvas I've ever seen, wraps them all himself. He's super pedantic and I love it. You'll probably see Big Phil as well, and he's standing at the front door and he welcomes you and with open arms and, asks you where you're at tonight and, right, you're in the kitchen, come here. It's sort of got this sense of we haven't created a proper, right, let's document the way people are going to walk in, like I did with May. There were so many documents that I could have pulled out. Let's use this from when people enter Ghazi. This is what has to happen. No. When you enter the Hellenic House Project, you're entering our house. You open a front door and you walk in, and we're there to give you a big hug and let you come in and have some fun.
Love it. I don't know why this image has come to me, but I just remember once I was driving around in a taxi and there was this amazing smell, and the older Greek taxi driver explained that he had some suitcases of oregano in the boot. Someone had brought them back from Greece, and he just needed to get them home to the kitchen. But somehow that just seems to relate to everything you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, as you walk in on the right-hand side, do yourself a favour. There's a whole wall of my great-grandmother's cookbook that I've had made into big sort of posters that are all stuck up there like you would on a street. Then stuck on that is my grandma and my granddad's suitcases when they came to Australia. And then on the opposite side is my other granddad's guitar because he was a musician. I've tried to collect everything that really I want everything to be a sense of reason and it's not just, I've not just gone around and just grabbed some stuff just to make it look good. Everything has a certain sense of feeling. Billy Cavalaris, the architect who I just love him to bits. He's a pain in the arse, but, everything has meaning, it's got to be authentic and right. So working with him every single day was a pain but a pleasure in many ways, because we wanted to make sure that we really brought the sense of homeliness into the place. So the suitcase in one of the bathrooms, it's caked in, when I say caked, we've got bunches and bunches of mountain oregano hanging up in there. So when you go into the bathroom, it smells quite lovely.
Love it. George, can't wait to come down. Whether or not I'm wearing my Ugg boots, we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, congratulations. I'm glad it started off with a bang, and sincerely wish you all the best with it.
No, thanks, Dani, and a big congratulations to everything that you're doing for our industry. And obviously, I keep a close eye on it all, and I congratulate you. We need more people like you advocating and pushing what we do, and it's so important. It's a beautiful industry, and yesterday was another tough day for Shane Delia, who I love dearly, with Providore. We can all love it or hate it. It doesn't matter. This is someone that was trying to have a crack. So anything we can do to support each other is great. So I congratulate you. Thank you so much.
Thanks, George. Well, yeah, look, it is a great industry, as you say, and it's my honour to help share some of the stories. So, yeah, thanks for being part of that.
Thanks, Dani.
This is Dirty Linen, and I'm Dani Valent. We air the issues that the hospitality industry finds hard to talk about, hearing from different people with unique perspectives. We want to hear from you as well. If you have something that needs to be said about a topic, get in touch so we can include your perspective. Contact us at dirtylinen@deepintheweeds.com.au or hit us up on Insta @Dirty Linen Podcast. We can't wait to hear from you.